hello, 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 hello. It's good to see you. Say hello.
Welcome, Huskies fans, to the Huskies Hockey Podcast. This is your host, Andrew. I am joined, as always, by my trusty sidekick. We know him as Weldie. How you doing, Weldie?
Hey, I am doing well. I wonder how long do I sit in a semi-dark room before I actually get up on a stool and change the light bulb that's in my office? That's kind
How
of...
many hosts of this podcast does it take to change a light bulb?
I think it's been out for about 4 days, and every time I turn the light on, especially at night here, so I've got some kind of mood lighting going on. I know this is great for a podcast and you can't see it, but I don't know. I'm kind of sitting here. I've got some shadows that are on my face. I'm just kind of like, man, maybe I should change that light bulb. I don't know. We should all get together and sue light bulb companies for telling me this 10-year light bulb warrant. I guess I don't know the ins and outs, what have yous of all that, but I feel like I change a light bulb in my house every 2 weeks. I don't have that many lights.
There's a gentleman that you could take up your beef to. His name is Thomas Edison. He's the guy that brought us that wonderful light bulb that you're cursing out right now.
Yeah, way to go, Tommy.
He brought that into the world. Incandescent, his knowledge. It knows no bounds. Good luck with that. Do you have a stepladder? Don't take for me. Don't use the swivel chair as your stepladder, because you might have more problems than needing to change a light bulb after that experience.
Yeah, and especially because you'd still have to change a light bulb after you wipe out and what'd you do? Break your
we don't talk
leg?
about that. We don't talk about that on the show. Nothing that severe. Just some ligament damage. But
some ligament damage and a bruised ego.
Exactly. And a bit of a hospital bill. But those are younger, more foolish days for sure.
I have actually a fairly nice stepladder that we bought many years ago when we were painting my daughter's room when she was not alive yet. So we got the stepladder. So the stepladder is like a bunch of paint stains on it, but I mean it's a stepladder. I think that's actually how it's supposed to look, right?
Gives it some character.
Exactly. So, but I do have some somewhat exciting news here.
Okay, let's hear it.
That I bought myself some Nick and Nora glasses. So I've got
we've got, for those who are not watching on video, which is all of you, because we don't stream these. He just held up a Nick and Nora glass of a clear spirit. Is that a martini that you've been hyping up the last couple of shows?
That it is. It is a gin martini. I don't have any lemon twist though, so it is lacking a little bit. But
what's your ratio of gin and vermouth?
4 ounces of gin and a half ounce of vermouth.
Oh wow, that's like an 8-to-1 then.
Dry vermouth.
I don't know. Math is not my strong suit, but I think that's
your St. math is correct. That
whatever the ratio is, it sounds like a strong martini. So you're going to be, you wanted to host this show, you're going to do an 8-to-1 martini ratio.
No, there's a reason why you're hosting these summer shows, because I am getting loaded.
Let's put a pin in that, listeners. We're 4 minutes in. We'll kind of keep you updated. I will try to. The Weldie, how drunk is Weldie meter? You'll probably figure it out, I think, as we go here.
I don't think anybody has any. I think everyone can tell.
It'll come as no surprise to our listeners.
Exactly.
It's a good occasion for that. This is basically our last. And based on the speed of this offseason, or at least the amount of the newsiness of this offseason with the with Oliver and whole new coaching staff, whole new roster, which we'll kind of put the finishing touches on, we think, tonight. Just hold on for a little bit. Usually in the summer shows, we've had much more room for tomfoolery. Seemingly not as much of that this offseason, but this is probably the tomfooleriest of the shows this summer. We don't have a ton to touch on. And the next show, we were kind of doing some scheduling in the green room before we hit record. Our next show is lined up to be, mid to late-ish September, where we're going to do the women's preview, and then the week after that we're going to do the men's preview. So, and after that we are basically in mid-season form, and we'll be with you every week for the next 6 months after that. So, this is the last show where we are kind of going to be scraping for topics. So, probably a good idea to get the extra strong martini out.
Yeah, exactly.
And go along with the ride. We got some fun topics. Again, we don't have a ton of news to touch on, but we have some fun topics. One that we've kind of been teasing for a couple of shows, and we're going to be throwing it out to you, dear listeners.
Yep, we're going to unveil it.
Some good feedback on a good topic that might be Mount Rushmore related. That's the tease for now. But let's get to the news, or at least the minimal amount of news that there is at this point.
I will have to say, because of the whirlwind of the off season that we've had, coaching staff changes, they'll be keeping the assistants, now new assistants, now assistant to the men's hockey coach, which we'll definitely talk about. Not an assistant hockey coach, which got a little bit of a funny story, but I feel bad because I've had to push back my from the booth segment that I wanted to kind of debut, talking to some announcers, KVSC announcers of the past, and kind of where they are and how some of that aspects. I don't like. I feel I really enjoy kind of how the sausage is made and how that process kind of goes about behind the scenes, how you get ready for things. Just really those types of ins and outs is kind of fascinating to me. And I want to get an announcer's view of that. And I feel like those will be kind of some interesting topics of people you don't normally hear from on that side of it. And I've actually, got up some kind of interesting topics and questions that I'm kind of curious about. And the fact that we haven't been able to line that up because of all the news that has been going on, and it's been a fascinating off season to say the least. So I do apologize that I'm kind of keeping some people on red when it comes to that, but just know that I promise you'll be on the show.
One, I would assume it would be on that list of bumped guests. Would be one Alex Fern.
That is correct. I feel like I'm Jimmy Kimmel, and I keep bumping Matt Damon and say sorry to him that we ran out of time.
Alex Fern.
I feel I'm Jimmy Kimmel, and Alex Fern is Matt Damon. So,
well, it's a good segue actually, because the last piece of the 26-27 roster for your St. Cloud State men's Huskies, John Hirschfeld, played in Lincoln, where Alex Fern is gracing those radio announcer airwaves, doing play-by-play for the Lincoln Stars. This move to get Hirschfeld, who St. Cloud area hockey fans probably are familiar with that name because he was a star for St. Cloud Cathedral, won a state title with the Crusaders in the 23-24 season, scored the winning goal, I believe, in the championship game. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Put up a monster year that would have been his junior season. Then they made the title game the following year as well. Very good Cathedral team of recent vintage, and Hirschfeld was a big part of that. He had been slated to go to Vermont, who's on St. Cloud's schedule this coming year. They came to St. Cloud last season, and then St. Cloud will be going out to Burlington this year. Might make for an awkward trip for Hirschfeld, seeing as he has spurned the Catamounts and joined his hometown Huskies for this coming season, 26-27. In that, so parts of 2 seasons, two seasons, 1+ season, let's say, in the USHL. He dabbled a little bit in the NAHL with Austin as well. Hirschfeld got into a little bit right after he graduated high school in the 24-25 season with Lincoln, and then had a full season with Lincoln last year. 24 points in 56 games for the Stars. Decent playoffs with 6 points in 8 games for Lincoln as well. And I think when I looked at his elite prospects before this move was made official, but kind of when the rumor mill was churning that this might be the move, elite prospects had listed Hirschfeld as coming into Vermont in 27-28.
Yeah.
So perhaps they wanted him to have another year of juniors, and that could have been the deciding factor for Hirschfeld to want to bolt and start his NCAA career a little bit earlier. Now the spot for Hirschfeld became open due to the decommit of Zach Shantz, WHLer. It's one of the 3 guys that we had mentioned over the last couple of shows, speculating about the roster. Shantz is one of the 3 Canadian juniors players that committed under Larson, who had, at least at the point of the last show, had not changed their commitments after Larson bolted for the Gophers. Well, now that has changed. It sounds like Shantz is too old to return to the WHL. Sidney Wolf, I think, just said he's other opportunities. I don't know if those are hockey related or not. I would assume so. He had a really good year in the WHL the year that just concluded. One of their star players, they went all the way to the Memorial Cup finals with Everett Silver Tips. He was, Shantz was an intriguing prospect, kind of a late commit. I think March or February maybe was when Larson announced his commit. And like I said, had a really good season in the WHL this last year, and I was excited to see him come, but not to be. There was opportunities for him, like certainly in Europe. I could see him picking up somewhere in a pro league out there. If not, working his way up in the minor league system in North America as well. Best of luck to him. Again, I of the 3, so we had Shantz, who's now officially gone. Nathan Brown, who is not going to be coming in the 26-27 season. He was another one of these group of 3 players, Canadian juniors players that committed under Larson. Brown is not coming in this coming season. I do believe he does have eligibility for another year in the WHL. He even did a little tryout thing with the AHL. And so I don't believe he has decommitted officially. He still could come in to St. Cloud next season for the 27-28 season, but he will not be joining the Huskies for this coming season. So the only one of those 3 Canadian players that had committed under Larson that still is coming is Brock Such. In some sense, that's not terribly surprising because, again, these are guys that committed under the previous regime. And it's just the way things are these days with commitments and the WHL still being a new wrinkle and talent pool where the transactions between the WHL and NCAA and commitments maybe aren't as, the fidelity of the commitments maybe aren't as strong as what we think of as a USHL bred type player. But the upshot is Hirschfeld is in, Shantz is out. I always like to see the local kids in St. Cloud State. You tweeted out a little bit of a list. Thank you for doing that research. There was a couple on that list that I didn't think of, but guys like Ethan Prow, Spencer Meyer, who's newly hired to be part of the staff.
Be honest, was it Pexcamp?
I knew Pexcamp.
Oh, Pexcamp
no, I knew Pexcamp. I
that
missed
was
Matt.
the one
I
I was like, oh, that's right.
Yeah, Matt Hartman was not one that was on the tip of my tongue.
I remembered Hartman. Yep.
Prow, I remembered Johnny Swanson, Will Hammer That was another good poll. So it's maybe not. It's really not every season they've had someone, but you put those players that we just mentioned, their careers sort of on a linear track. Most years in the last 20 years or so, maybe 75% of those years, we've had someone on roster that was, Stearns County, Benton County, the Tri-County area, let's say. And I don't know if you want to even throw in like Little Falls to that definition.
I was wondering about that and like how far down to go, but I just decided to kind of keep it Sartell, Sauk Rapids, St. Cloud, I guess Wade Park, but I mean that didn't factor in. But yeah, just to, if you didn't see the tweet, just going through St. Cloud, the natives that played at either Tech or Apollo, Nick Ports, Will Hammer, Johnny Swanson, and Matt Hartman.
Ports I had forgotten about, but maybe it was the
transfer aspect of it.
Transfer aspect and his sort of, let's say, forgettable career at St. Cloud State maybe is a reason that his name didn't leap to mind.
But you remembered Peck's Camp?
I did.
So, all right. Spencer Meyer, Sartell, and then for Sauk Rapids, Prowl, Peck's Camp, and Nate Radens.
Radens I forgot too.
I was kind of looking at the list, and I was trying to go back and it was when my son is doing kind of a hat trick Mike camp right now as like just kind of a 3 day, get your kid back on the ice and do some drills and kind of get ready for the hockey season. I mean, that sounds more hardcore than it actually is. It's just get out there and skate and have fun. But I was going on mobile and I was trying to go through the College Hockey News website and I was trying to find the most St. Cloud points in a game. And I was, just trying to look through and I forgot how bad the mobile site of CHN is to use. It was just atrocious oh man, it was just atrocious. And like, I'm fine with ads every now and then, but when 3/4 of your screen is covered with ads that you're trying to hide when every site that you pick and you're trying to find, and eventually I just kind of gave up. But I was pleasantly surprised. Like I remembered Hartman and Radens, but they were on the same line. And there were many times when they both had multi-point games. So I was kind of looking through and there were a couple of them that probably had 4 points, between them all. So I thought about doing a random box score, but then I got upset with the Woden site because I wondered if maybe Swanson kind of factored in there if there was some more points there. But so I ended up giving up on that. So a fun story that doesn't really have a payoff. So I apologize to everyone. But so eight players since the early aughts, and Hirschfeld makes 9. A little bit of an undersized player, being 5'8", but you look back at St. Cloud history, we've had success with some of those little guys that put the puck in the net. And that's, I don't really care about size when it comes to hockey, as long as you can skate. And I think Hirschfeld can prove that he can skate. So I thought this was a good pickup. Yeah, I probably would have liked to see Shantz a little bit more just because the WHL factor a little bit more unknown. But if he's got other opportunities, can't fault him for that. So, I'm really excited to see where it goes. It was also pointed out that Ethan Lyerly, St. Cloud, was the 3rd string goalie behind Gepfert in some of those years, but he did not factor into games, so I did not put him on the list. But yes, he was technically on roster, so he would make 9-10, but if he didn't factor into a game, I don't know if that technically counts, but that's another one on roster at least. So St. Cloud flavor is still churning out talent, and I think Hirschfeld. I'm really excited to see him come and see what he can do on this team.
Indeed, and it is the last Shenanigans podcast of the summer. And you brought up a random box score. We're going to do one. It's not necessarily a random box score. This is a well-known box score, but you brought it up. It's such a great opportunity to do it. We're going 8-7. We're going 8-7 in the Frozen or the Final Five. Because you know who scored.
Because Hartman.
And you know who got one of the assists. You've also brought him up on the show as a local to the area.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I talking about? Raidens.
Yep.
I'll just start here. I want you to do all the St. Cloud scorers in that game. But first of all, just because we're on the game winner, the eighth goal in that game, Raiden's first assist, I suppose. Do you know who got the second assist?
Ooh, the second assist
on the game winner.
On the game winner. Okay, Hartman, Raiden's. Was it a defender?
Nope.
Okay, forward. Because that play was kind of a broken play coming up the ice.
Yeah,
so I thought a defender passed it up to Raiden's.
I don't remember this trio being a line. Like I don't know who would have been the center on. It could have just been like a line change kind of deal and sort of mishmash of lines. It's not who I would think of in terms of who's getting the second assist on a game-winning goal in a playoff game.
Okay. I mean, it had some weird, people kind of on that. Judging by that, I'm going to go with Marty Miele.
Good guess. He had an assist in the game, but not on that goal. DK, the initials.
Oh, Chronic.
Danny
the Chronic.
So we've had Hartman. I just want you to do the goals here. So Hartman, he had two goals. He had the first goal and the last.
First and the last.
So we got, other than that, we had one guy who had 2 goals. And then we had 4 others that had singles. So just rattle them off. And you were at the game. You were at this
I was at the game. Oh, man. I don't think I'll ever forget this game. Now, will I remember all of the goal scorers? Okay. I got to write it down quick. Okay, so we have Hartman. Got the first and the last. I wonder if Euro is just yelling at his podcatcher right now.
I don't think I would do very well at this either. Like it's. I mean, there's a couple of big names here. I mean, in terms of goal scorers, there's like one big name here. The others, we've got 2 defensemen.
Well, that would be Gordon.
Gordon is one.
Right.
He scored the 3rd goal, which was his 20th of the year.
Yep.
But then we've got 2D on this list. And then like the 2 goal scorer, those are his 5th and 6th goals of the season. So not like a prolific scorer. And then another, actually it could have been 3 defensemen. I'm sorry. I forgot what this other guy's position was. That's how
this other guy's
position was. No shade to this person.
Let's see.
So you got 3D.
Jensen didn't score. Day didn't score.
Jensen had 3 assists, I should say. Day had 1 assist.
Okay. Stevenson didn't. Fletcher did. Fletcher scored.
Fletcher did score. He scored the 2nd goal, and he was the only power play goal for the Huskies that game. Stevenson, you mentioned also.
Ryan Patolny had enough power play goals for everybody.
He had a couple. Just ask Doug Woog. I'm sure even as he's long gone, Doug Woog is still yelling Patolny's name on the broadcast for that game. So we're doing pretty well here. So you just got 3 more to go, and you still haven't gotten the 2 goal scorer.
The 2 goal scorer. Hooten. Brock Hooten.
Yep. Very good. So you're doing very good here. You just got 2 more, both defense.
Yeah, both defense. Boer.
Correct.
Because Boer, it was like, oh my God, even Boer is scoring. Because at that time, that was the fifth goal.
Very good. God, your recollection is great. He scored the fourth goal, and that was
fourth goal. Okay,
so that to go up 4-2 about 4 minutes into the second, and then this guy scored, which is the toughest name here of all of the goal scorers. He scored like 2 minutes later to make it 5-2. 2
minutes later. Oh, McElroy.
TJ McElroy. Did you have a wrong guess? I mean, you speculated Stevenson. You knew Jensen wasn't. I don't think you actually had an actual guess that was wrong.
Here's the thing. There is a. I'll tell you the secret here. There is a very terrible quality YouTube video of this game that every once in a while I'll just pop on and just smile. And I watched that video probably, I don't know, once every 2 months, 3 months. So I think it's mostly like those names and everything kind of buries into my head.
Well, if you're a master
so like as far as random box score goes, this one for me isn't nearly.
I realize that, but we're having fun here, and you're doing very well at this game, much better than I would be able to do here. Just we're looking at this box score, just the names that we haven't even mentioned. I don't think I don't think would come up with David Carlisle, who had the second assist on Gordon's goal. So I'll give you that one. But you mentioned Day. You mentioned Miele.
I mentioned Miele.
So that's it for point getters. In terms of the penalties, we had Brocklehorst.
Let's see. Okay, so
penalty. We had Conrad Reeder making the box score with the second period penalty. We had Billy Hengen making the box score, getting a penalty. And that,
let me see if I can do the Gophers.
We knew 4 of the 7.
Four were Ryan Patolny one-timers.
That's correct. I mean, these are big names.
Danny
Ehrman.
That's 5. 2 more.
One I believe is, or I don't know if Larson kept him on staff, but I believe he's been on staff I think he was on staff under Motzko. I don't know if he still is.
I do not know.
He was. So Larson did retain this guy, Ben Gordon.
Oh, okay. He got the first goal, right?
The first goal of the game to go up 1-0. And the last guy, I think he's not playing in the NHL, but he was playing in the NHL very recently. According to CHN, his NHL career ended with the Wild in the 23-24 season.
What position?
Defense.
Oh, Goligoski.
Alex Goligoski.
Yeah.
So pretty big names for the Gophers. But that was the perfect kind of.
And then Geffert played the whole game for the Huskies, and then it was Briggs and Frazee for.
Very, very good. Couldn't forget about the goaltenders. Yeah, I mean that in terms of that Huskies team, this is the perfect box score for that team because
it was the box score for this team.
You know, you had guys like Gordon that had good years, but a lot of it was kind of the funky bunch that was doing a lot of heavy lifting.
If you have Billy Hengen, I don't know what exactly his position is, but he works with the women's team right now. And he was on Dump and Change 2 years ago.
I'm not sure if Yelasuo kept him on staff or if he's still part of their staff at all. I thought maybe I didn't hear about any of his contributions last year, which makes me think that perhaps he moved on after Adulski did. But
it was really interesting. Billy Hengen, it was really interesting listening to him on that podcast because he talked a lot about this team and a lot about the transition from Dahl to Motzko, and with this being Motzko's first year too, and it was just how since Hengen was a senior this year, it was, I don't exactly know what's going to happen. But he said, like, when Motzko was here and about halfway through the season, like, Motzko kind of turned up the intensity, was like, okay, I actually have something here with some of these players. And yeah, and we made a run. You know, we were, one game away, and even some bad luck pairwise related. The Tuckcliffe might have got us on that one, but we were close to making the tournament and making kind of a Cinderella run there. But
yeah, it was the year that I really fell in love with the Huskies, that team in particular. And that's where I think
some of that, excitement kind of comes with a new coach too.
Right? Exactly.
Is, a new coach, Motzko, comes in, and we had this team, and that's where, we get some of these memories that I can, recite how many years later, 20 years later. So it's, hopefully now Oliver can kind of come back with that and have that first year coach magic.
Exactly. I mean, that's so far ago that that would have been Bob Motzko with hair. Would have been behind the bench for that game.
I think he still wore a vest though.
For that game?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the video.
It could have been.
In case you're wondering, definitely go on YouTube, look up like 8 to 7, like Wolf Soda or something like that. Was it?
I've seen the video.
It's terrible quality, and especially if you're like a newer generation, you're like, oh, this is crap. This is what the internet looked like back in my day, so it's like I can see what's going on, but
I'm just surprised that we haven't gotten a better quality video to be uploaded to YouTube of that game.
I swear, like, I know Fox Sports North and all that is on the verge of bankruptcy, but like, I think there's a market in like buying those games, buying a copy of those games, or like they must have just a warehouse full of those. I would drop serious coin to be able to sit and watch that game again.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, there's some random games in St. Cloud history going back to the 90s that are on YouTube that are much better quality than that.
Yeah, it's really bad.
And so it's random that one isn't available. But even like when I was looking, I don't hunt out the Air Force loss game from 2018, but I did as for the research for the cloud coverage series that I did this summer, dealing with Motzko in particular, try to find, you can't find a full game of that game. I can only find like 2-minute highlight clips. And that was less than 10 years ago. That was weird. Yeah. You'd like to think that some media from, we're just talking 20 years ago, it shouldn't be that difficult to preserve something for the record. But you're talking new coaches with Motzko in that year and that team. Former Husky himself with Motzko joining the coaching staff, leading the coaching staff in that regard. We talked about last show, Spencer Meyer, former player, returns to the Huskies as a coach. Well, we've added another former Husky to the coaching staff. And you teased this earlier, Daniel Tedesco. Apparently not an assistant coach, but an assistant to the head coach. Insert your favorite office jokes.
Which I did tweet out, and Daniel Tedesco did like on Twitter. So he sees the hilarity in the name of it. I just don't understand why the naming convention is what it is when it comes to that.
To do with NCAA rules. I think you're granted 3 assistant coaches. But then any additional, you probably can't call them an assistant coach. You've probably got to make some creative.
Well, I mean, then just go with like men's hockey coordinator. I mean,
which is kind of what his position is going to be. It's like a video coach with a Lenny Hoffman replacement guy that he'll be buzzing in the ears of probably Joe Howe and Spencer Meyer and Clark Kuster, the guys that are going to be on the bench, about doing challenges. I would assume he's going to be like the main point man for that. Someone who is going to be in the press box or in that area of the building. He's not going to be behind the bench, as far as I can gather. This is what like Lenny Hoffman's job entailed over the last few years of him serving on the St. Cloud staff. And now it's Tedesco, who St. Cloud fans of a certain age will remember the name from his playing days from 2013, 2017 under Motzko. 24 points, just doing my back of the napkin math here, in 4 years. And he spent the last 10 years basically playing in Europe, various levels. I've got an ECHL stat line in 25-26, the Bloomington Bison. I don't know if that's the ECHL that we know and love, or if that's like some like English something hockey league that I'm unfamiliar with. I think it's the actual ECHL, but that's his only blurb on his elite prospects line that's not from Europe in the last 10 years. But he returns, and he returns to the alma mater. Your favorite Daniel Tedesco moment, if you have one, go.
Well, I know you threw up a random box score, but before the show, I have 2 random box scores
for Tedesco.
Tedesco had 2 multi-point games in the Cardinal and Black, and both of them came in victories. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of revisit them, one as a freshman and one as a senior.
So what do you want me to do here?
Well, what I will do is I will give you,
pull up the box score, and then I'll say, oh, Daniel Tedesco, he had a goal and assist in that game. And then
that is true. He had a goal and assist in both games. His first one was in 2013. In November of 2013, a 10-0 victory. Do you want to guess who that was against? At Huntsville. I believe this one was actually kind of a thank you to Nick Dowd, or making sure that was on the schedule.
One of those games was close. I think the other game they played that weekend, it was like 4-3, but then they had one that they won in a laugher.
Mm-hmm. So Daniel Tedesco had a goal and an assist. Obviously with this 10-0, I don't think we need to go through all of them, but if you want to guess, he got the assist.
Yeah. Give me initials.
On the power play, who scored the goal?
Give me initials. I don't want to spend all day on this. Oh
man. I mean, I'm
not as good as you are at the random box game, as we found out.
JB.
This was the power play. This is the goal that he scored, or this is who scored the goal?
This is the assist. He assisted on the power play. So already it was, I think this made it 8-0. So
JB. Is this like an obvious name?
Oh, yeah.
Or it
is. Yeah. Probably one of the most obvious ever.
Yeah, Brodzinski.
Yes. And Papa, who ended up...
Welcome to Papa.
Ryan Papa, who ended up playing for American International and screwing us over. Oh. So that's fun. And then Papa scored Tedesco scored the 10th goal, assisted by Papa and David Morley.
Okay. Needed that 10th goal too.
Yeah, needed that 10th goal. That was the only goal in the third period. So we got to make sure that we won all periods and not just the first 2. So 4 power play goals, and it's a who's who of Prow scored. Thorson had 2, Dowd, Kosela, Bennick, Milan.
Scummy Milan.
So, and then his senior year, also goal and assist, a 5-2 victory over Colorado College in 2017. Do you want to know who was the referee in both of these games?
I mean, my standard guess is Marco Hunt, but I don't think he was reffing NCHC games at that point. I don't think he ever reffed in the NCHC, so it can't be him. I don't know why you bring this up. Tom Stearns?
Brad Shepard. Like, I mean, I guess it's an independent, Alabama Huntsville was independent at this time. So maybe that's why they used,
that was a reference to the Huntsville game. I thought you meant the 2017 game.
Both games.
Game. Oh,
both games. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's why I thought it was kind of interesting. So anyway, yes. Tedesco ended up, March 3rd, 2017, 5-2 victory over Colorado College, who was terrible that year. But at the National Hockey Center. And let's see. This one, a little bit of an obscure JB also
really
scored one that John Lazat was the other obscure assist. JB, a little bit more obscured.
16,
ended up with 56 points in 138 games.
Well, that feels like it shouldn't be that obscure. I mean, again, Tedesco with 24 points in his 4 years.
This was this player's best season. It was his sophomore season. JB. 21 points, 36 games, then 17, and then only 7 his senior year.
17, so that he would have been on the 17-18 team, which was a beast. And he was on the 18-19 team as well?
Yep.
JB. See, this is why I'm not good at this game, because
from Grand Forks, North Dakota. I don't think I would pull this out if he said JB. Like,
Jacob Benson.
There you go. Yeah, he had 21 points that season, his sophomore season.
You said he had 17 in the
17 is
in the next season.
Yep, in 17-18, and then in 18-19 he only had 7.
For some reason, maybe it's that game, because and maybe it's like guys like Milan, they'll have that one game in the year where they're like the number one star of the game, and it must have been that game then for Tedesco. There were certain points where you're like, ooh, wow, Tedesco, let's go, LFG.
Yeah.
And that, so that I have some memories. I can't really pinpoint exactly what those memories were. Sometimes with those guys, it's just like the good shifts they have. I mean, that's not necessarily like they're scoring goals, but it's what you kind of want from a fourth liner. Energy, a little bit of a spark, gets the crowd into it. He kind of encompasses that kind of player to me. If you look at,
and I think like he's in on it too, because if you like read his quotes in St. Cloud Live, it's just kind of like, oh wow, they actually used footage of a rare goal that I scored, so he seems pretty self-aware about what his role was. I didn't really recognize this until looking at the box score here, but yeah, like I said, this was March 3rd, so obviously late in the season. But Nick Paling scored, and it was his first goal of the season.
Maybe he was hurt?
No, that's kind of what surprises me. I didn't know that. Like, I guess I didn't really remember that his freshman year went off to such a tough goal scoring start. But yeah, he didn't score his first goal. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, he had 9 assists.
9
assists. But yeah, until he scored his first goal. I bet, now I'm kind of remembering a little bit about it. And then he scored 2 goals at North Dakota.
So I would have thought March 3rd would have been maybe the last series
regular season game.
But
yep.
But obviously not if they played North Dakota. Or, well, no, because they played North Dakota in the playoffs.
In the playoffs, yeah.
So this was the last regular season series of that season. Now, it was a disappointing season. That was the first full year that we did the podcast. Yep. I'm sure we had thoughts about Nick Paling's goal drought.
I bet if we dig up the trenches of the dead laptop,
there's no. It's as dead as Doug Woog.
Jesus.
That those shows are never to be heard ever again.
God, Doug Woog catching some strays from the grave.
At least, I mean, it's not like Dolly Parton who just departed us.
That is actually
today.
That's actually too soon.
I mean, now that is something where we don't want to speak ill of the recently dead. Doug Woog, I think, would be fine with a bit if you would explain it to him. I think he kind of appreciate it, especially like because he remembers like the Ryan Patelny thing. Like I still remember everyone is standing except for the people in wheelchairs. That's still my favorite Woog line, I think. Or when he was talking about Eric, I think he was talking about Eric Johnson. It was like Mazzacco said, he's an imposing figure, and Woog says, "Yeah, and he's big too." Cool. Oh God, he was the Madden, John Madden. I would say he's the Madden of college hockey, but then. Even the younger generation is like, what are you talking about? The guy in the video game? There's a movie coming out about that with John Madden. There should be a movie about Doug Woog. Who would play Doug Woog? In the Doug Woog biopic? You got to have like
Wallace Shawn.
Dating us again. All you whippersnappers will throw that one into Google and have yourself.
I'm sure.
Inconceivable.
I guarantee you the millennials that listen to that comment that of this small little niche laughed really hard at that. I bet they loved it.
That's actually pretty good.
I don't
think I can top that, actually.
So
you remember the guy in Office Space? He was the guy on Cheers too. He's one of the regulars, but he was Office Space, the two Bobs, not John C. McGinley, but the other guy.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. That guy could play Doug Woog.
Yeah, I can see that.
Maybe get him on a little bit of a slim fast diet, but then I think he's got the facial features. I think for the Wooger. Yep. Anyway, it's good memory lane stuff. That's what we're good for on this show. So we promised tomfoolery.
Nick Paling, Jack Paling, and Judd Peterson scored that game from Jack Paling. Jack Hashan with an assist. John Lazat with 2 assists. Will Borgen had an assist.
It had the
Ben
bones.
Storm also assisted on Tedesco's goal.
The team had the bones of a really good team, and we saw that come in to fruition that following season. Yeah, it was a frustrating year. So many overtime losses that year.
Yeah. I mean, you had Ryan Paling, Newell was on this, Jackson, Asamont. So, I mean, like you said, we had some Schultz. I mean, this was Chalowski's year.
Chalowski's year.
So,
yes, it was.
Ashan, we talked about Borgen, but Nevalainen as well was on this squad. So, yeah, you had the bones.
It would have been the Jeff Smith, Zach Driscoll tandem. Yeah. Didn't quite work very well.
Do you want to guess who got the win this game?
In that one, I'm going to say it was Smith.
Yep, that's correct.
I have this. It's a Mandela effect, I'm sure, but I think we double checked this maybe within the last year. I was like, didn't like Driscoll bolt in the middle of the season? Was it like grades or something? Or I think it was just after the year he left.
Yeah, it was
like
just
my memory was that he like left in the middle of the year. I think he was just benched because he wasn't very good for the Huskies, and Smith wasn't that great either that year. But it's one of the reasons that year was so frustrating. Anyway, it's good again that we don't have much to talk about. So this is 3 actually random box scores.
3,
all
what
for
a
the
treat.
price is 0. So yeah,
I know everyone asked for 0, but you get 3. So congrats, everyone.
Yeah, and welcome back to Daniel Tedesco.
Yeah, welcome back. I know we kind of ragged on you just a little bit. I'm
32 years old, and again, we're getting all the youngsters here. We have no grizzled member of this coaching staff. I think Joe Howe is the oldest member. I guess it might. I think he's 36. Nolan's 40. We've still got like Myers in his 20s. Is Kuster in his 30s? I think he's in his 30s now. But I mean, these
just to put a bow on the Smith Driscoll. Both were freshmen that year, and 28 games for Smith. Driscoll had 14. Smith went 10-13. Driscoll went 6-6-1. Smith had a 277 goals against, but a 960, or not 960. Holy cow. Geez.
Yeah,
we're talking about the teetering of the alcohol here. .906.
We're not talking about your blood alcohol content. We're talking about his
hope not. 318 goals against for Driscoll and an 888 save percentage. So yeah, like you said, it was woof
indeed. So we've got that. That's it for the men's news, really, with Tedesco's addition. So we think that coaching staff's all set. We think the roster's set. We've said that before, and I suppose we still have a month and change until the season actually kicks off. So
they're all at least on ice. So they're all on ice practicing, doing
correct
team-related activities.
Yep, so. School is officially started again, doing their preseason workouts at Burnix Arena in Sartell, it sounds like. Now with the Herb still under renovation.
I mean, at the risk of sounding really creepy, I follow McKillen on social media. And she's been doing a lot of activities and workouts at the MAC as well. So I think maybe some of the women's team there at the MAC and the men's team there in Sartell. But both squads are hitting it hard and really working towards the season.
Yeah. So the women's team, as you mentioned, they obviously start the season a little bit earlier than the men. We've got less than a month until we've got a Husky hockey game on the schedule. By my math here, we've got 25 days. We're recording here on Monday, the 25th of August. Saturday, the 19th, women's Huskies team plays in Brainerd against Bemidji. It's an exhibition game, so it doesn't count. But that is a game that involves a Huskies hockey team on the schedule, and it's less than a month away. So we're getting to that time. And I'm getting excited for it. Not so much news on the women's hockey team front at this point. And, we're doing some roster speculation. The only one of the names that we mentioned in our 26-woman roster preview, it's not currently listed on the SCSUHuskies.com official roster, is this Adela Fromova. She's one of the international players from Czechia, defender. She's not listed there, so it makes me concerned that she's not going to be on the team. Perhaps there just might be some visa issues, enrollment issues, who knows? But as we said, semester is underway. You'd like to think if they're not listed here, it doesn't bode well on their prospects of actually suiting up for the Huskies this year. Hopefully next month when we have the official preview for the women's team, we'll know either if Fromova is coming or, because without her, that puts the number at 25. And we're under the working impression that this is a 26 roster capped team. So that would at least have a spot open for someone to be on this roster. If it's Fromova or somebody else, we will keep you abreast of those changes or those developments if we either see Fromova's name as a member of this roster or if there's going to be a replacement. I mean, you want to at least get to your max of your roster, I would think. That would put you at 8 defenders. The math that I had calculated with Fromova, that would make 9. You can certainly get away with 8, but 9 seems to be kind of like the sweet spot, especially with defender depth. We like the number 9 on this show. So, yeah, that's the one bit of roster news, question mark. I don't even know if it counts as news because it's just something that I picked up on St. Cloud State's website. We do have start times listed. We don't have them for the men's schedule yet. Well, like that UConn series at the MAC, which you're going to be walking to because you're so close, and you should be walking if you're going to go there a couple martinis deep. But be a night game under the stars on that Friday the 25th at 7 o'clock. And then they play a 2 o'clock game on Saturday. But So we get a nice night game to kick off the regular season.
I will say I would walk if it was a little bit of a more walkable area, and if they actually had a walking path.
It would be
but
nice.
I mean, even with Apollo under construction right now, like I can't even use that even to get past Apollo anymore, because they are making some additions to that school, which are desperately needed. So I voted for that, so I guess that's okay. But even that, like that path just ends there and doesn't go any further, and just kind of didn't make any sense to me. But I'm all for walkable areas. So, but it's going to hurt my prospects of stumbling back if that Pantown kiosk is open there, because I would definitely partake in that.
Or just get there early enough on Saturday. Just do an all day affair, the Saturday matinee. I'm just looking at the schedule again. We're reaching for topics here, but not many weekends where they're playing both afternoon games. Like they've got a Friday night game in most weekends. I don't know if because it's different from the men's team. Like the women's side plays way more afternoon games. I don't know if that's a benefit. Like, do the players, it would be something I'd like to ask the players, do they like playing at the same time both games because you feel like that gives you enough rest, enough time to rest between games? Or like the 7:00 game on a Friday and then coming back at 2:00 on the next day, is that day game after a night game? That's a big thing about like baseball. I can't have the same catcher, can't have the catcher catch the day game after the night game. I don't know if hockey players are similar in that, or if they like the routine of we like to play at 1:00 each day of the weekend, or if they like to play at night, kind of keeping the same kind of daily routine that they normally do. But this year it seems like they're playing more PM games, like evening games on Fridays. There are obviously a couple of weekends that they're playing the early game on both occasions, but something that I picked up on here. Anything else in terms of either women's team or men's teams, news items, anything that I missed until we get into our Mount Rushmore topic?
I can't think of anything when it comes to that. I do, like I said, I've always really enjoyed the Saturday afternoon games for the women. I think it's a good way to spend an afternoon while watching some good hockey, and like I said, bringing the kids. And so I'm happy that they're definitely keeping that throughout the season.
And in my selfish standpoint, playing a 1:00 local game on a Friday, that's 11:00 for me, at least at this time of year. So that means I'm going to miss a lot of that game unless I can stream it with my iPad at work. The Friday PM games, the evening games, are a better fit in my schedule, which is always most important. So from a selfish standpoint,
I think that's what they took into account. I
hope they did.
What about Andrew?
Really hope they did. The time frame, the time zone difference, I hope they factored that in as well. So yeah, let's talk about Mount Rushmore.
Let's go Rushmore.
Yeah, we've been teasing this, and we still don't really know exactly what we're going to do with it. But because
let's just spitball. Let's just go right here.
This is spitball. Yeah, we're spitballing here. We want to kind of fold this into our ticket giveaways, and we feel like this is a good topic for fan engagement. One might call it engagement bait, fair, but we need to do something to drive our audience and to get some clicks, get some eyeballs, get some ears to listen to this, fire up your podcast stream of choice, player of choice.
I feel if we had better engagement, then Gritty St. Cloud wouldn't have gone under.
I know. And this show, Gritty St. Cloud being perhaps at the top of the list, has always thrived on its sponsors. And it's happy to say that we've got some good sponsorship this year, and Sherburne Hall alumni guy, who, if you didn't listen to the third hour of the show last time, you might have. I'll forgive you if you missed our discussion of one Sherburne Hall alumni guy who introduced himself to the show with a very long and very impressive email. And lo and behold, he was really inspired by this show, and he wanted to give back. And so he's arranged for us to continue our ticket giveaways by donating that money for the 2 ticket season package we have for the Saturday games for this coming season. Sherburne Hall alumni guy, you are forever in our hearts. And
what
blessed
floor?
Be you.
Did he say what floor?
We don't know what floor. But
Sherburne Hall, I think that goes up to 13. I think.
Let us know. I know you're listening. Now that doesn't mean that there could be more ticket giveaways in addition to the Saturday package that Sherburne Hall alumni guy is gratefully.
Thank you for that. That's very generous.
Now, what we're going to do. So last year, what we did for the ticket giveaways is every week, or we did this in advance of the home schedule, but each show we would send out or drop a passcode, and then you would email that passcode to our email inbox, huskieshockeypodcast@gmail.com, which was fine. I mean, we were able to distribute all the tickets from last year that way, but we felt like the engagement kind of dropped off a little bit. So what we're going to do this year is we're basically just going to keep the door open in general. So stay listening here. We'll get all the details here, but this Mount Rushmore bit, we're going to ask our listeners to submit their Mount Rushmore of St. Cloud State Hockey. We'll define that in due course here. And once you email us that your set of 4 heads on the Mount Rushmore of St. Cloud State Hockey, that will count as your entry into the ticket giveaways for all season. Now, we'll probably have more opportunities to get entries into the big pot that we'll draw names from. The more that you enter, the greater the chance that your name will be picked. And again, I don't think that will be limited to the 8 Saturday games that comprise the package that Sherburne Hall alumni guy is sponsoring this year. There'll probably be room for additional giveaways or additional games that we'll do giveaways for. But instead of having you to email every week or every game that we're going to do a giveaway for, we're just going to do it kind of at once. And hopefully that'll make it easier for everybody. You'll still have to listen to each show, because when we do the drawing, that's your cue that your name has been drawn and that you need to respond in order for those tickets to be used. So yeah, that's all to say that we've got tickets. We'll be giving them away this year. Not just the official Huskies Hockey Podcast season tickets, graciously supplied by Sherburne Hall alumni guy this year, but probably some additional ones. I know people want to see the renovations. I kind of do. I'm several states away at this point. I hope that others out there in the fan base are as curious as I am. I'm sure you are. Check out what's all new, how the shrunken rink kind of looks with how they retrofitted it, and are the pegs going to slide out like they have in years past? I'm sure we're all.
I already have a prop bet going. I already have a prop bet in mind for the dislodging of the net.
I'll save that for our season preview, because we're always good for some prop bets there. So keep your ears peeled.
Let's see
here.
what $13 million will buy you.
I should hope that we don't get as many net dislodgings as we have in years past. But that's something that we'll see, and that's something that I'd like to be in the building for to see, because I don't think that's one of those nuances in the TV stream you just can't pick up sitting on your couch. You really need to be in person to check out how the ice interacts with the
sounds of the new boards.
Sound of the new boards. Are the acoustics going to be better? Probably not.
Jason Bryant's dulcet tones.
He's the best recipe for trying to turn around those acoustic issues. And yeah, so I mean, and that's all in addition to the general excitement that, at least just speaking on Weldie's behalf, this show is very excited to see what Nick Oliver can do behind the bench and have this brand new roster, 18, 19 new players on this roster. This season is going to be a very intriguing one. And with the kind of refurbished Herb, it's another reason to actually go to the arena and check out the Huskies. So you'll have some opportunities throughout the season to go to these games, and when we'll do our part to get some people into the arena. So how we're going to do this, Mount Rushmore. Everyone's familiar with Mount Rushmore, right? It's a mountain called Rushmore, and it's in one of the Dakotas, right? And it was a mountain, and it's got some heads on it.
It's got 4.
It's got 4 heads. Is it 4 or is it 3? I can't remember. 4. I can never keep it track of it.
It's all over their license plates. Great faces, great places, South Dakota.
I only know it really from that Hitchcock movie, but it says here in Wikipedia that's in South Dakota. Vertigo. So I'll take its word for it. And South Dakota it's where it's at.
Do you have a favorite Hitchcock movie?
We've talked about Hitchcock. North by Northwest probably is, and that's the movie that I'm thinking of that has the Mount Rushmore scene in it. I
thought you were talking about National Treasure 2.
That as well. It's a neck and neck race between those two. But we've got Washington, we've got Jefferson, we've got Theodore Roosevelt, we've got Abe Lincoln on Mount Rushmore. So what we want to do is use Mount Rushmore, and this is kind of a trope in the last, I don't know, several years. I've seen this. Who's on the Mount Rushmore for your favorite team? It's common fodder for sports talk radio. Maybe it's even an overplayed bit. I don't know, but it's not really been done in St. Cloud State hockey context, at least not on this show, and that's the only thing that really counts when it comes to St. Cloud State related media. So we're going to do it here. Now, me and you, Weldie and I, are going to do our own versions of this, but we really want to throw this out to the fans because this is really
we're fan focused.
It's and it is engagement, and this is engagement farming, and so what we want from you, dear listener, is to send us your 4 names, the 4 heads that you want to be sculpted on the St. Cloud State version of Mount Rushmore. Now, we'll divulge our personal Rushmores on the next show in September. We don't want to lay our cards on the table.
Some Hitchcock suspense here.
We don't want to bias the field. We don't want to taint the water to see how people are going to submit their names. We want this to be natural and organic, like a mountain. But we're going to take some dynamite to that mountain, and we're going to carve some heads into the side of that.
What
mountain.
They did to Mount Rushmore.
So, maybe I think it's an interesting kind of thought exercise. How would you receive this assignment? Do you think the assignment is 4 heads means the 4 best players in St. Cloud State hockey history? Is it the 4
influential?
Influential, yeah. Then define influential. And we like all approaches. There's no real wrong answer here. And we encourage listeners when they're submitting their Rushmores to feel free to expand on your thought process on how you came up with this. When you hear Mount Rushmore of X, whatever category we're talking about, are you thinking just kind of top four? How are you categorizing what four names you're going to come up with? Are you just going through the legends and you're just going through the top four? What's your initial thought on your assignment here?
I mean, that's what I'm really interested in, what everybody's takeaway is going to be. Now, I will say that as much as I love the internet and I know what everyone's going to do here, you cannot put Jeff Finger on 4 times. I thought about it already. I want to do it, but I think that's not in spirit of the Mount Rushmore. So only one player per head. So you can't have 4 Jeff Fingers. But I was just kind of going through like 4 JBs, because we talked about Johnny Brodzinski, Jacob Benson, Joey Bennick, and I was trying to think if there was another JB that's playing for the Huskies.
I could barely come up with Brodzinski, so I'm not the person to ask.
Yeah, so I mean, we can have some fun with it, but at the same time, like, for best players, I think is kind of what you think of. You can always, go through the points list and whatnot, but how I think I'm going to take it is that when you think Huskies hockey, who are the players that comes to mind? Like, who comes to your mind right away? Who did you grow up watching? Your formative years of Husky hockey, or are they on the current, maybe not the current roster, since there's only 5 returning players that we have right now. But I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking of, is like, who do I think of when I think of Huskies hockey? These are the names that that I think of. But if you have a different way that you want to take it, and if you want it to be the best players or the best moments, and you associate players with moments of Husky hockey, I'm really interested in what our fans are going to kind of come up with as what they go for. But what I think I want to do is at the end tally up everyone's most common Mount Rushmore pieces, and then maybe put them in a ranking and see kind of where they land, and maybe have like an official quote unquote Mount Rushmore. But it's, so I want everyone to have like one main one, and then you can have some other ones that you were kind of tinkering with. But I'm like you said, like Andrew said, there's no really wrong answer. I'm really interested in what everyone's going to kind of think and kind of pursue, and male and female. If you want to put some women on there as well, definitely go right ahead. I'm really interested in what everyone is going to kind of come up with.
There was a podcast, I can't remember which one or what even they were talking about, this idea of a Mount Rushmore of fill in the blank, whatever the topic at hand was. And one person's impression was that, so basically it's the 2 best and then 2 overrated examples. I think there were like Washington and Lincoln are obvious choices for the presidents on Rushmore. Jefferson's a weird one. Teddy Roosevelt, I think, is even weirder. It's not. I wouldn't think
it's the bull moose.
We're not a political podcast, but I don't think the Rushmore encapsulates the 4 best presidents, certainly. So that would put a crink into the idea that this is just compiling the 4 best, however subjective you like to think about who the best is. This is interesting, though. Borglum, the sculptor of the mountain, so he had specific reasons for
Ernest Borglum. Is that
Gutson? I think
Gutson.
the most famous person named Gutson Borglum. So he had specific reasons
until
for picking
I talked to Teresa and we have a fourth kid. There we go.
I think the Gutson lane
Weldon
is wide open for you.
Rolls off
the tongue.
My parents wanted to name me
So,
Sheldon Keldon Weldon. Did I ever tell you that?
That's good. That's not bad. That sounds like a sitcom character.
Yep. Right.
And it could have led your life to
what could have been Sheldon
place.
Weldon.
Exactly. So Washington represented the birth of the United States. This is on the National Park Service website. So this is like the
birth of Husky hockey.
So Washington, founding father, first president, birth of the nation. Jefferson represented the growth of the United States. He's the president in which the Louisiana Purchase was purchased. Louisiana Territory was purchased, which doubled the size of the U.S. So Jefferson is the expansion or the growth of the country. Roosevelt represented the development of the United States. He was, the Panama Canal, preservationist, nature. He represented development. So, and he was the most modern day of the presidents at the time that he carved the mountain. So I think he specifically wanted to pick someone that wasn't of the, founding fathers stock, someone a little bit more modern or more recent. Lincoln represented the preservation of the United States, Civil War, ending of slavery, preserved the Union. So that's, and again, I think with Washington, I think he's the other obvious choice for Rushmore heads. But that gives you an idea of where you can go with this, because I think you can think of names that represent like the Jefferson here of it's maybe not necessarily the best president, but here's one that represented the growth of the maturity, let's say, of the hockey program.
All right, I got mine.
There's other names that you can go there. Again, this isn't your official list here. We're just spitballing names, right?
Yep, I'm spitballing
what do you got
here. But I mean, if we're going birth, we're going Hedekin. Growth, Parrish. Mark Parrish. I would put Cullen, but he's dead to me now because he went to the dark side. So
how about birth? Birth? No. Birth. We're talking founding father. Wouldn't that be Brimsek?
You want to go Brimsek on this? I went to the D1 era. So I mean,
so you're going that is your first. You're sort of putting a tent stake down and saying it's got to be from the D1 era on, which is a legitimate.
I don't. No.
I was going to say that precludes any possibility of Jeff Passolt, which would be a shame.
Oh, 100%. I personally, yes, I'm going D1 era. Okay. Now, if you, the listener, or obviously you, the royal you, if you want to go with, prior to that, yeah, by all means, yeah, Brimsek, Hall of Famer, yeah, birth, put him on there. That's good. But development, Dowd, and preservation, Jeff Finger. Boom, done.
There is no such glue as Jeff Finger.
Preservation. He preserved the art of smacking somebody when they acted out.
See, this is good. Again, this rubric here, the Gutson rubric, as we're going to call it. You don't need to buy into that. There's no requirement. It's just another idea that you can get your brain kind of kicked into motion and trying to think of the names. I mean, you just the list that we just rattle off here, all players. You're not bound to players. I mean, there's coaches that you can think of. There are administrators. Brendan McDonald, for instance, coached the team in the 50s. I didn't know that, but then was the president of the university in the 80s, who was one of the primary reasons that St. Cloud made the D1 jump in the late 80s. The rink, I think, is still named after him. I mean, the arena itself is Herb Brooks Arena or Herb Brooks Rink, but it's Brandon McDonald Rink at Herb Brooks National Hockey Center, I think is what the name of the rink is. Anyway, so I don't think that you're necessarily bound to players. You can go coaching staff. You can go announcers. Chuck Clausen, I think, has a decent argument.
I think he has a really good chance
on the mountain. I mean, in terms of just like good looking, like we're just going by looks. Chuck Clausen. I mean, come on. He is.
If we're going by looks, I'm on there 4 times. Let's face it.
One head only. You're limited to one head only.
If we're going to fake referees in the stands, I gotta be on there.
That would be you if you were to make the Rushmore. It would be you with the helmet with the goal siren on top of it.
No, I never had the goal siren. God, people. No.
Okay, so you just had the helmet.
Yes, I just wore a regular helmet. I didn't have
it's the Mandela.
I might have filled in one time.
I put a siren on top of it
for it. I just like, and they had to bring like a car. I don't know if they still do, but they had to bring like a car battery to power that goal light. And I always thought it just kind of looked ridiculous because I mean, car batteries are fairly heavy. Like, you gotta bring that into the National Hockey Center every time.
Well, I mean, again, it's already.
I feel like technology has advanced, but then I look at here. I'm in a darkened room because I can't change a light bulb because every 2 weeks I have to change a light bulb into my house.
Right. Yeah. Hook that up to the car battery, and you wouldn't have the problem that you're having right now.
Jeez, right?
So, I mean, this is kind of fun that you can have with this, and more importantly, if you submit your list of 4 names,
tickets,
you get the chance to get your hat. Put your hat in the ring for the ticket giveaways, which will be ongoing this season. And again, because Sherburne Hall Alumni Guy has been so gracious and sponsored the Saturday package.
Thank you.
But that also offers some opportunities to do some other giveaways throughout the season, some Friday games. We got a Wednesday home game to talk about as well. We even got that outdoor game on Hockey Day. I don't know if tickets are available for that yet, but hey, maybe if they're reasonable enough, we can throw some cash at that and get some other listeners to that event if they're so inclined. I would like to say too, if you submit your list, your Rushmores, and again, email the show, huskieshockeypodcast@gmail.com. I suppose you can message me on Twitter, Andrew SCSU HHP. That'll work as well. Email.
If you're in, if you're in Facebook groups that talk Huskies hockey and whatnot, pimp it out.
Yeah, absolutely. We like to get some more listeners.
That's always great. We always love new listeners and love the feedback too.
And we appreciate those that have been doing that and been spreading the word about the show. I know we've got some listeners in said Facebook and online groups. We appreciate the shout out and get people involved here. It doesn't matter if you were a season ticket holder in the 90s and you kind of took a long time off from being a Husky fan, or if this recent Oliver edition has really kind of rejuvenated your interest, and hey, you just stumbled upon this show, we want to get you involved, get you engaged. The more that fans are excited with this coming season, I think the better. And I think we've got an opportunity here. Again, there's so much new with this season. New coach, mostly new roster. We've got not a new arena, but we've got a new renovation to the arena at least. There's a lot of newness that I think is exciting. We like to keep that going. So again, your instructions, send us the 4 names, your 4 heads on the Mount Rushmore of St. Cloud State hockey, however defined you'd like to define it. And again, feel free to explain your answers. No requirement to do so, but we like to read these, and what we'll plan on doing is the next show we'll kind of go through and read our favorite ones of these. Hopefully we get so many that we've got to not read all of them.
Yeah.
Kind of got to pick and choose. But we will compile all the responses that we get into like a grand tally. And we'll find out who are those 4 names that have populated most lists. So we'll crowdsource an overall Mount Rushmore. But send us those between now and the next show. Again, we're planning on doing the next show around September 20th or so, mid-September. So get your entries in. And again, those entries, those emails will count as your entry into the ticket giveaways for this season. And there'll be other opportunities to add some additional entries throughout the year, and we'll keep you apprised on those opportunities as well.
I was really hoping just if there was another paling, we could have an all paling Mount Rushmore, or if all of the Brodzinskis came, we'd have a Brodzinski Mount Rushmore, but alas, that didn't come to fruition. But I did have another JB with Joseph Belial.
There we go.
So there for our JB Mount Rushmore, Belial, Brodzinski, Benson, and Bennick.
That's not bad.
That's I'd actually put that line up against it
was too bad because when we're doing the Tedesco ones, the name that like immediately came to mind that I really wanted to use, but we never got the initials, was Brooks Birch. I was dying to, because I bet they played together like on the same line. Yeah. Like they could have, at least in theory, been on like a goal and an assist on the same play sometime in their careers. I really wanted to use that name, but unfortunately it was you were giving me JBs, not BBs.
Yeah, exactly. Last I heard about Brooks, I know he was in the Kings organization as a video coach.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if he still has that position or if anything happened there, but video coaches and Huskies, I guess that's but one thing I found kind of interesting, you're talking about as we're talking about coaches, Courtney Hall, yes. I saw got elevated. Courtney Hall played for the Huskies throughout her career, and right now got elevated up to the full assistant coach.
I don't think she's assistant to the head coach anymore. I think she's just a full-blown assistant at Union in the ECAC. She's been there a couple of years. I think maybe it was 1 year after her career for the Huskies ended. I think there was 1 year between, and then she's been on Union staff the last couple of years, and now promoted into a higher title with the what are they now? The Fighting Garnett Chargers.
Garnett Chargers,
stupid name. But yeah, it's.
But now she's an assistant, so congratulations to Courtney.
Indeed. Again, this has been an easy breezy show, hour and a half, not even an hour and a half. And that's with 3 random box scores.
3 random box scores. That's true. We do have questions though.
We do have questions. I was going to say before we got to those, is there anything else on your mind?
I can't.
Hockey related.
No.
Thoughts and prayers to the Arizona State player, by the way.
Yeah,
collapsed in an off ice exercise.
I don't know a ton of.
They're pretty close to the vest about details, probably for good reason. But it's not been a very good year PR wise for Arizona State hockey. I'll say that. They finished 9th place, don't even make the NCAC tournament next year, and that was coming off a year where they were second in their first year in the conference, and so some high expectations, and they fall flat on their face, and now this not the kind of news that we want to hear. So wishing for a speedy recovery for that player, who I don't believe is the identity has been released yet. Again, for privacy reasons, we want to respect that, but hope that situation improves quickly. Oh, and I did see that Northeastern. Did you see this? Which they're playing. They closed Matthews last year, and they're planning on rebuilding, and it's got to be in the same footprint. It's Boston. You don't really have the kind of free real estate to just build another place in a different spot. So
it's free real estate.
they were supposed to reopen the new Matthews in 2028, but today it was just announced that it was a 9-month delay in the new Matthews. So that's like essentially another season that they're going to have to basically play all their games on the road, or technically as road games. Their schedule came out this year and they have one game that's listed as home game.
And even that is like to be determined.
Yeah, that might even be, I think it's against BC, one of the either BC or BU, and it's might be at that team's rink, but it will just be counted as a Northeastern home game. So that's going to be, we talked about it last year about how that could cause some issues with pairwise. Like if all their games are going to have the 20% bonus.
Yeah, all of them are going to have the road bonus now.
I feel like the downside of never playing a effing home game would kind of cancel out the benefit of getting the pairwise bonus for being the road team. I don't think
find
that's
out.
Gonna be good.
I think it's going to be really interesting. Maybe that would actually teach Penn State and Wisconsin that it's okay to go on the road. Like, look at what you can do if you went on the road.
I mean, it's like a Disney movie script. Like,
Right.
hey, it's the team that doesn't have a home, and we're living out of our hockey bag for 6 months. And look at the scrappy team that could be. I feel like it's going to be like a 8th place finish for them in Hockey East, but hey, if they make the tournament, something like that, like, yeah, dreams could come true.
Yeah, it's Hockey East. Who knows?
That we see on like a direct to Netflix movie coming up. So put a pin in that. I might be seeing them this year. I was trying to do some planning for this potential Vermont trip, and Dartmouth they host Northeastern, because Northeastern is not hosting anybody on the Sunday following the Huskies playing Vermont. So that would be an open day. So I might be seeing those Huskies this year.
You don't have any games Brown that you can catch?
I do.
Because
it's that Tuesday game, the Tuesday, the 1st of December, they host Sacred Heart. It's like your favorite two teams.
Oh, perfect.
Brown
That's a perfect
Sacred
matchup.
Heart. So I might do that as well.
No, you have to.
Fun to,
Is that at Sacred Heart?
No, it's at Brown.
Oh, okay. Because obviously with the Sacred Heart new arena, that would have been pretty cool.
Thinking about flying in and out of Boston. So that would, I don't know if I'm going to do, I was originally planning on doing like the full week between.
Fair City.
But I might like come back on the Wednesday, but I might still do a Providence trip to check out Brown first, because that's the only game Monday or Tuesday of that week. At least now, there's still some schedules that haven't been released. Like Hockey East's conference schedule isn't fully official yet.
Oh, geez.
And I don't
they had to wait for Northeastern.
I don't think that I think there's a couple of teams that still haven't announced in Hockey East. And I don't believe their conference slate is out official yet. So still coming together. It would be nice if there was some other midweek games that were to pop up, because that would make the trip a little bit better. But we'll see. It's something that I've been keeping my eye on, but it's hard to when these schedules kind of trickle out. But enough of other teams named the Huskies. Let's get back to the
real
best
Huskies.
Yeah. Zach, we've got a couple of frequent questioners who are chiming in. Always good to hear from our emailers. Zach, it reminds us 39 days to Huskies hockey. I think he's using that calculation, the men's team, and as I corrected him indirectly, I suppose, earlier, we've got like 25 days if you're counting women's exhibition games. We've got less than his count, but either way, we've got it's on our doorstep, and we're all excited for that. He's got a couple of questions here. Who will be the breakout player for the Huskies this season? We'll take these one at a time. So what are you thinking for that? Or at least in terms of, well, let's just answer his question. Breakout player. Because there's players like newbies that I'm especially excited to see. I don't know if like Papanikas, I'm really excited to see. Like of the freshmen. I don't know if he's going to qualify as like a breakout though. Breakout player for me, I'm going to think it's going to be like one of Rode or Ernest. I'm thinking like those two. who we saw really good signs from, especially in the second half of last year. With Thorson kind of joining that line in the second half, really good chemistry with that trio, and presumptively going to start the year as the top line for this Huskies team. Especially, I just love centers, and I think they do bulk of the work on their respective lines. So I'm looking at Rode as the guy who put up 18, 19 points last year. If we can get that up into like the high 20s, I think that would qualify as a breakout. And there's just, do you count like a Jake Southgate, who's coming over from Lindenwood, who's going to be one of the more veteran players on this team? Like breakout to me still implies that you're kind of an underclassman that's kind of taking a jump. Maybe it's just an interpretation question of what Zach's trying to get at here. But for me, like, I'm looking at like someone in a freshman or a sophomore position. I'm going to go with Rode. How about you?
I am going maybe a little bit off the deep end here. When it comes to, like, I'm going to pick a player who we have seen, like I have seen flashes of, and to me, it actually is a little bit puzzling that we haven't seen more production out of him, and that is Ryman. If you look at his handful of goals, I think he only has like 2, 3, 4 goals or whatever in St. Cloud State history. But like, I remember seeing them and being like, geez, where did that shot come from? Like, all of his goals are like absolute snipes. And I am looking for him to take a leadership step and really kind of having kind of a breakout year. Now, breakout year for him, I don't know what it's going to be and what role he's going to be and what Oliver kind of sees in him. But when I think of Jack Ryman, and I think the shot is there and the potential is there, and I think he's fast enough, and just, I think it all needs to come together, and I think it does come together this year. So I think he's going to be kind of the one that surprises everyone. I am going to look like a genius or a fool. I don't think there's any in between here when it comes to it.
No, I like it. I like the idea, and it might be a good segue into the second question here from Zach. Actually, it's his third question, but I'll take it out of order. Any guesses for captains this season? He hasn't heard anything. It's up to the players, right? It's not really the coaches the coaches might have some feedback, but I think it's something that's voted on by the players. But I'm gonna go with Ryman as one of my guys for captains.
I think it goes to the players, but I think that is maybe an old school mentality that is kind of out the window now with the transfer portal, because we look at St. Cloud and we look at this as now, 19 players that are new. But we can go through a bunch of other teams that have easily double digits of turnover, new players. And so, like, when it comes to voting on captains over a 2-3 week period, is that something you could really do? I don't know. So that's where I'm really interested in what's going to come from, because I can see maybe like someone like a Napier kind of comes in and is like, wow, this guy has kind of an aura or an ambiance that's like, yeah, this is going to be, captain type material. But it's, yeah, I mean, I would say normally, yeah, you vote on the players, you go through who's been here the most and through the trenches, but we don't have a lot of that right now. And in the new era of college hockey, maybe it doesn't matter as much. So that's where I say, I don't know. I don't know when it comes to, captains. I find it is going to be really interesting what it's going to be. Ryman, I do think, has all the qualities for it. I know I'm a little more bullish on him than I think a lot of other Husky players are, or Husky fans are. But Ryman is someone that I think is definitely going to wear some kind of a letter. But there's a lot of other potential that you can put on there.
I mean, Ryman just stands out.
I mean, well, we look at Southgate. Southgate wore the A, right, for Lindenwood. Yes. So, I mean,
he's a senior, and those are in short supply for this team. Ryman is the only, also senior Ryman. He's the only guy that's been here for a year. This will be his 4th year. Southgate, obviously, is his 1st year with St. Cloud. So Ryman's been here the longest. He's the longest tenured Husky who's been on St. Cloud's roster for 3 straight years prior to this. So I think that gives him the inside track of wearing some kind of letter. Napier, another one of those seniors. And I'm just trying to think. I mean, Bufflin then we're getting into like the older or the upperclassmen of the players. So there's 9 returners. We've gotten this wrong a little bit. So 9 returners, that means 17 newcomers. But even of those
9 returners, really,
just 9 returners. Yeah.
Well, 2 of them are goalies, right?
2 of them are goalies. So 7 skaters.
Really 7 skaters.
And of those skaters,
you're not going to give a letter to a goalie, are you?
You would think not. And it's Berzins, who's a junior. Shostak's a sophomore. I would not expect the goalies to wear a letter. Chobak did, though, a couple years ago, right? I mean, so it's at least in recent women's
that's
history,
true.
It's not completely unprecedented. Of the other returners, so we've got Bufflin, who's now an upperclassman as a junior. He doesn't scream letter wearer to me, but perhaps. Then we've got Thorson, who's a junior. I think I could see him wearing an A, perhaps. I mean, I think he's a player that team definitely feeds off his energy, I think, in large part. When Thorson's going well, the team's going well. So I wouldn't be
he's a
shocked.
Spark plug.
Yeah, he's a spark plug.
I mean, he's a Garrett Rowe type.
So I can see that perhaps being in the mix. And something like Aiden Welch. Like I'm not, he's one of the 9 returners, but he was not an impact player and injured most of last year. Then you got guys, then you're just looking at your other sort of graybeards, relatively speaking. Southgate coming in. Believe he's the oldest player on roster. Yeah, he's the only 02 birth on this roster. This is going to make us feel old. We're talking about birth years during our high school careers. So Southgate is the oldest member on roster. You mentioned Napier. William Ulrich coming over from Lake State. He's an upperclassman. Charlie Lurie, another one of these transfers, 2-time transfer, Omaha and Mankato. He's a Minnesota kid. That's not something in recent St. Cloud history, at least in the last couple of years, for captains, for someone to wear a letter in their first year as a Husky. I'm just perusing this list. Seamus Donahue wore a letter in his first year here after transferring in the 2021 season. Some of these guys like Anhorn wore the C in his second season as a Husky, not his first season. Spellacy also he wore the A in his second season with the Huskies. So jumping in to a brand new team and immediately wearing a letter is not common, but with so much turnover this year, and not other than guys like the ones we've mentioned before, Ryman, most notably, not a lot of obvious candidates to wear the letters with this current returning group. So yeah, a guy like Southgate, I wouldn't be surprised to see wear it. Napier, I think, is another good bet. So in just the terms of the numbers of letter wearers, last year we had 5 letter wearers, 3 co-captains and 2 alternates. So, most years it's been 1 captain and 3 alternates. So we're looking at 4 guys. I mean, we've probably mentioned the most likely candidates of the ones that we've kind of thrown up against the wall here. So we'll see how that shakes out. Last question here from Zach, which I think is a good one, because it kind of frames what we should be viewing the season as. Are we actually expecting a rebuild this year, or is it time to expect St. Cloud State to compete for championships again? Where is your... This is a tricky question, because I think by definition it's a rebuild. I mean, it's a new coach. Yeah. It's 17 new players.
Not only new coach, but new coaching staff.
Entirely new coaching staff.
All new.
New
boards.
New boards.
New refrigeration. New practice arena.
New. And then we've got, I think, the presumptive clump of teams at the top of the NCHC standings that I think it's going to be very hard for conventional wisdom to, at least to see our preseason polls or preseason standings predictions. They're going to be starting to roll in here in the next couple of weeks. It's going to shock me if I don't see some combination North Dakota, Denver, Duluth, and Western Michigan in some order in the top 4. So because of that, with a brand new team, with all the turnover, new coach, and all that we've mentioned, really hard for conventional wisdom to say that St. Cloud's going to be in that mix of those 4 teams, which would be the kind of default teams that you would put the odds on favorite of winning the Penrose. Now I don't think that those 4 teams are exclusively the NCAA tournament candidates. I think there certainly could be room for additional teams outside those 4 that could make the tournament and even be a high seed in the NCAA tournament. Is St. Cloud in that sort of secondary category of, let's say, groups of teams that all goes right and maybe one of those top 4 teams gets some injuries or underperforms, that you could either sneak into that top 4 or just be a competitive team, make the tournament as being a 5th place team, let's say in the NCHC. Do you see St. Cloud being in that mix? Or are you drinking the Kool-Aid and you're being like, yeah, they're going to knock off one of those top 4 teams. They're going to be a top 4 team in this conference. What are your expectations like at this point in the offseason?
It is like I'm hyped up for this season. But at the same time, I think I'm hyped up because of the trajectory of where everything's going to go. The preseason polls, I think, are going to be incredibly interesting when it comes to where and how close all of the teams are, especially when it comes to St. Cloud, because I think you can make a good argument that we're going to be near the bottom of the NCHC, and I can say that you can make an argument here that we'd be, fighting for home ice. Now, do I think that we're going to be, championship at the top? Who knows? And especially with the landscape of college hockey right now, to expect that, I don't know. I don't know if that's possible for a school such as St. Cloud State, where it's a little bit, I would say, a little bit tougher, a little bit of our resources. St. Cloud has always been a school that really prides itself on, kind of getting, I would say, like 2-star athletes and coaching them up to be 4-star and really being able to compete when it comes to that. So when I look at what will be a success for this season and how I look at, when we're talking about our preview shows coming up, I'm looking at what I think the floor and the ceiling is for every team in the WCHA and the NCHC, right? So I'm looking to see, if I'm looking at Wisconsin, for instance, I'm looking at their ceiling as a 1 and their floor probably being a 3, right? When I'm looking at, St. Cloud, what am I thinking our ceiling is and what our floor is? So when I think of what as far as like going to be a championship type caliber team, no, we're a couple years off from that. And again, with this landscape of college hockey, coaching up some of these players as well, making sure they want to stay here, which I think overall St. Cloud has had a good track record of keeping players. And I think Oliver is going to be a good coach at retaining some of those players. I think he's going to be a good players coach. But as far as this first season's going to go, I would say the ceiling of this team is probably home ice advantage. So that's what I'm kind of looking at as a goal for this season, is if we can end up in the top half of the NCHC, I think I'm going to consider this season a big success.
What do you think your percentage of that ceiling, of reaching that ceiling, what would you put that percentage at? And again, we're in August. This can change.
And that's the thing. I haven't looked so much into the men's and the turnover, but because obviously with St. Cloud, but also we're talking about Arizona State. Arizona State's had a lot of turnover. Omaha, I don't even know what the hell they're doing over in Omaha. But Colorado College, I don't know. All of those, are really going to be fighting and slugging it out. And maybe it's going to be coming down to last weekend, a couple of points difference. But if I were to say right now, the percentage that St. Cloud ends up in a home ice position, oh man, I would probably say, we're really probably only fighting for 20%. That's why I think it's going to be such a huge success, because we're fighting over 1-2 spots, probably max when it comes to it. So
20% to be fifth place or above.
Yeah,
in the NCHC. No, I think that's fair. I think I'd put my percentage a little bit higher than that, but I don't expect, if there were odds, Vegas odds on this, I think that would probably be less than 20%, which I think is a good spot for St. Cloud State to be in. They're always kind of better when they're sort of.
We're always better when we don't have a lot of expectations.
The expectations are low, and we can surprise. And I think we will be surprised based on. I don't think we will be surprised, me and you necessarily, because I think we've expressed our optimism as this roster has been rebuilt over the course of this last 4 months or so. But I'm very much anticipating the prognosticators to come in with 7th, 8th place predictions, maybe even lower than that. We've seen lower projections. I saw a 10th place projection from some computer that spit that out not so long ago. Get used to that. Don't really be offended by that either.
Was it McMahon?
No, it wasn't McMahon. It was some other Substacker. I never really had heard of them. But get used to that. And I kind of like it, because again, it's sleeping on the team like that. You do so at your own peril. And I think this team can definitely surprise. And I really, I think the lumping of those first 4 teams, I think that's fair. But then 5 through 10, you put that in a blender. I don't know what to really expect. You mentioned teams like Omaha and CC, which I agree with, what exactly we have there. Miami is a team I think is on the rise. I'm a little skeptical of their defense. They're going to need to prove that. St. Thomas might be the most enigmatic team in this conference, just because we have no history of them in the NCHC. We've had a history of them in another league. But how does that translate? How does their success, relatively speaking, in the CCHA, how does that translate to this league? I very much could see that turning out kind of how Arizona State did its first year and having a surprise successful season, or I could see that, turning out to be a last place and they are the clear doormat of the league this year, right? I wouldn't be shocked at either result in those extremes. So 5 through 10, that's really where the money's going to be made for the predictions when we have our receipts show. But I think it's going to all come down to 5 through 10, because I think that's going to be where the most variance is going to be at.
That's where we're going to be the variance. I agree. I think the biggest wild card, and again, maybe I'm getting too far ahead of myself. We can figure this out in, once I do a little bit more research, but Minnesota Duluth, I can see them winning the NCHC, but they're an injury or two away, especially with their goalie situation.
Yeah.
Like I could see them being 6. Minnesota Duluth is, I think, one of those. It's just like, I could see everything going absolutely bonkers this season for them, where at the beginning of the year, they have all the optimism. And by February, they're like, what the hell just happened? So it's, I don't know. All of that is kind of really interesting when it comes to, because I don't know, Minnesota Duluth always has some kind of weird injury thing. But then they'll make the NCAA tournament and end up winning it all.
and their question marks being goaltending and defense this year.
Yeah. That's not good. That's never good.
And they have this, Brad Childress kick-ass offense. But that doesn't strike me as like your typical Duluth team. And the last one of those Childress kick-ass offenses, that went pretty pear-shaped for him too. So
it did.
It could happen again. And Plant literally was injured. It was 2 years ago, which is part of the reason that they had a 7th place finish.
Mm-hmm.
That was when they lost Arizona State in the playoffs. So, I mean, it's happened before with plant-related injuries. They've got a third plant coming this year too. So that's really it's good that we only have them on the schedule once for one series, at least in the regular season this year. And it's really Zam too. Zam's the one we should want to be injured for the St. Cloud series, because he's the one that kills us much more than Max does. But we'll see how that plays out. So good questions. And again, when we have our preview show next month, we will have done that research, and we will have some more data to back us up, and we'll put those predictions on the record like we do every year. And at the end of the year, we'll see how wrong we were. It's a yearly tradition. But
tradition.
We've got email from Brandon, who's emailed the show before. Thank you for the email. He's got a fun fact first before his questions.
It better be fun.
So he's got, with the coaching staff and roster finalized, the coaches, and he lists Oliver, Meyer, Kuster, and Tedesco. He's not mentioning how here. He's just talking about ex-Huskies or Husky alums. Those 4 have more games played.
And goalies don't count.
And goalies don't count either. So Oliver, Meyer, Kuster, and Tedesco, that force, and put that on the Mount Rushmore. How about combined? They have more games.
Current coaching staff.
Can do it. It would be an acceptable answer into the pool of ticket giveaways. Those 4 combined, they have more games played and points in a Huskies sweater than the entire returning roster.
Jeez.
So you add up all those 9 players,
9?
The games played and the points. That tells you how young the returning core is. And so that's a pretty astounding stat. And he's like, if you include John Swanson as a member of the support staff, the numbers are even juiced even more because of Swanson's career. So gives you an idea, both the inexperience and youth of the returning core, but also that this coaching staff, Howe aside, very familiar to Huskies fans and all alums. We love to see that. So a great little tidbit there. His question, another kind of like a broad picture question. Aside from record, what does a successful 2026-2027 season look like for the men's and women's teams? And he has some examples here, like score more goals for the women, better penalty kill for the men. So not in terms of record, but in terms of maybe facets of the game. What does success, how are you defining success in this season beyond just the wins and losses? got an idea on this one?
Well, first I want to say that John Swanson runs a hockey camp, and this is not sponsored. But when my son was at the Might kind of, like I said, the hat trick hockey camp, dust the cobwebs off and get back on the ice. There was one Might in a ex hockey John Swanson, his company jersey. They were really good. So his hockey camp apparently does really well at the Might level. So I will say that. But as far as what kind of success goes, kind of for each team, I want to start with the women first. The women, I want us to be more consistent. And especially when it comes to closing out games, I think there were too many games that were winnable that we just kind of coughed up towards the end. And also just be a little bit more competitive when it comes to the top echelon of the WCHA. I think it's actually at the right time where Wisconsin has so much turnover that, I think Ohio State, obviously Wisconsin, they're going to be the cream of the crop. They're going to be tough, but I think just being a little bit more competitive and keeping those games close is going to be huge. And Minnesota as well. I think they're going to be kind of a situation where we can be more competitive in those games. And that's kind of the big step that I want to see. So more consistency there and more competitive when it comes to the top echelon of the WCHA. For the men, I want to see just improvement throughout the season. So much of a new player personnel and a new coaching staff, a new coach as well, coming up and new at the college level. So I'm really excited to see what he has to offer. But even if it's, we kind of talked about that team that ended up with that 8-7 victory over the Gophers in the Final Five, kind of mirroring that season when it comes to where they kind of came on strong and you really saw, hey, they've got something here. And if we can kind of continue that, I'm excited to see what this new kind of style is going to be. And that is what I feel is going to be a success for this team. And I hope that is us competing towards the end at a spot where we're up at the up towards the top, or even the battling for home ice position, and proving some of those substacks that put us at 10th, proving them wrong. So that's something that I kind of see as what I would consider a victory for the season where I sit right now. So Andrew, kind of what do you kind of think on both sides?
With the men's team, he's talking better penalty kill for the men. Yes, I would love to see that. Penalty kill's been a problem. Was a problem the last couple of Larson years, but therein lies the issue where new coaching staff means all these units are going to be new. So, yeah, better penalty kill, but it's a better from a previous system and a previous regime. I'm more interested in seeing, what does the penalty kill look like? Who is the personnel going to be on the penalty kill? Because we haven't seen a Nick Oliver run penalty kill as him being a head coach before. We haven't seen a Nick Oliver power play. Larson, his power play numbers were very good in his time here, but they tended to run hot and cold. He'd have a game where they'd go bananas and score 4 goals in the penalty kill, and then the next game they'd go 0 and 0 with 0 shots on goal during penalty kill or penalty power play situations. So consistency seemed to be somewhat of an issue, even though the overall numbers were pretty strong. I have nothing to go by with Oliver when it comes to special teams. So it's not, I don't even know if like I would classify it as like I need improvement from last year, because everything is so new that it's just like a blank slate. So what I'm really looking for is success. I'm just kind of looking at the systems that that Oliver is putting into place. If I can see from my coach, a few games that I'm able to go to in person, that these systems that he's implementing are going to be sustainable across, personnel units. If this is going to be the first year that we get some data on Oliver as a head coach, the X's and O's, from a recruiting standpoint, I feel like he's exceeded my expectations so far. Perhaps, I think his reputation of being a recruiter, I think, was his strong suit. It's what led St. Cloud to hire him. But even just with the short, like I said, 4 months here of the amount of guys that he's added and who he's added guys from all of the Canadian junior leagues, or at least Western Hockey League and the OHL, guys that have been NHL drafted already. This sort of profile of players that he's been attracting, not necessarily I would have imagined he's been able to get those kind of guys on such short notice. So his recruiting chops, I think, have been galvanized, or his reputation, I think, has grown in my eyes just from taking this job. So he's proven that in the short term, but in terms of his in-game management, his systems that he's going to develop, all of that is up to my viewing here. I don't have any data to go by on that. So just in terms of success, I just want to see exactly what we've got with Oliver as a head coach, the full package, not just the recruiting, but how he manages games within games across the season. That's going to be something that's going to be part of how I gauge the season, and how I gauge kind of my future optimism when it comes to the Huskies, and just like the individual players that I'm especially excited to see. Some of these recruits, freshmen that he's brought in since he's gotten the job. I've mentioned Papanikis, Oljanski's from the back end, even the guys that he inherited from Larson, like Nolan Stevenson on the defense. Defense, just in particular, is a unit that's almost completely revamped. So if I can find some favorites, like last year, we've talked about Rode and Ernest already on the show. Those are guys that we really kind of grew to appreciate their effectiveness, especially down the stretch last year. If we can have like several of those kind of stories with young players, something that we can bring with us into next year and beyond, that's especially something that I'm looking forward to as well. And with the older players, and I want to get into the women's side here as well, some of those veteran names are the names that we're familiar with. If they can kind of build on past seasons and perhaps be more consistent, I'm looking at Sorial and Sunderland on the women's side, who, Sorial last year, 0 goals against the top half of the WCHA, plenty of assists, but her goal scoring was limited to the Bemidji's and St. Thomas's and Mankato's and Linwoods of the world. I'd like to see a more consistent output across the schedule. And, that's a tough task when talking about the WCHA. Sunderland, similar kind of stat line, not as extreme. We saw that better with like McCallion, who came out to play a little bit. She was more impactful against the top echelon of the WCHA. If we can see some kind of output like that from what I believe are your 2 stars on the forward side of the puck with Sunderland and Sorial, if we could see that this year, that's something that would bode well for this team's success. And just, as you said, consistency in competitiveness against those top end teams. It had been a while since we've seen like the 8-1, 9-2 type games that we saw towards the end of last season. Yeah. We want to avoid that, and defense as well. Another unit that I think is like the men's side, is going to need to prove itself as well. Big thing for the women's side is Kariko, how she's going to handle a full workload. My expectations on her are pretty high as they are, but we haven't seen that in terms of grabbing the reins and playing a bulk of the schedule. She's had injury concerns as well. If I can success for, I think too, success for the Huskies largely relies on not just a strong year from Kariko, but like a standout, stellar award competition type season for Kariko. She can put up like a 950 in the season, which I don't think is out of the question. I think that's kind of like her ceiling. If she can put up something like that, like Tia Chan did at UConn last year. I don't think UConn looked like a great team up front, but they got to where they got based on the strength of their goaltender. If Kariko can pull that similar kind of magic, I think the team can move up a couple of spots from where we've expected them. So, I mean, there's a lot of promise, I think, from on both men and women's teams for the Huskies this year, but a lot of factors and that could go several different ways. So it's an interesting question because how you're defining success can depend on what you're talking about. But I don't think it should just be limited to wins and losses. And I think there are some just individual isolated areas where you can pinpoint this is what we would like to see some growth from. And so there's no shortage of those kind of storylines that I'm looking forward to seeing playing out as the season progresses. Anything else on that topic or any other topic? As those are the questions I don't know if you had any from Max.
I had one. Carl sent me one.
Good.
Just, I think I will have to punt this one as it just kind of pertains to our preview show. But thoughts on how the NCHC shakes out this year? Can anyone break into that top 4 tier of Denver, Duluth, Nodak, and Western? And that's kind of where. Yep. So can't touch on that, and we'll touch on that more in our preview show. But that's going to be kind of the consensus top 4, and it'll be interesting in the preseason polls, how it comes up and how it lines up with the votes, and kind of where that gap is going to be. Because I think you kind of have your clear tiers when it comes to it, and I can even see pros and cons, and somehow it'll probably all be Denver when it comes out to it, and I'm sick of them. Nobody likes Denver.
Indeed. Nobody likes Denver. Everybody here that's listening to this show loves the Huskies, of course, and that's what we try to give you. Again, this is our last of the shows that are on the monthly schedule. The next time you hear from us, we will be kicking off our weekly schedule for another season. And that'll be again in about a month. So be sure to add us on your favorite podcast player stream of choice so you get all the episodes sent right to you automatically. Send us those Mount Rushmores.
Please
Huskies
do.
Hockey Podcast at gmail.com. That's again, Huskies Hockey Podcast at gmail.com. That way you'll be entered into the drawings this year for the Saturday home game giveaways, 2 tickets, premium chairback seats. We'll probably be doing it. And again, we'll do more drawings for like Friday games and other games. As long as if we get a lot of response from this, we get a lot of entries, that will ensure there'll be more drawings. So it's up to you, dear listener, to send in your Mount Rushmore, Huskies Hockey Podcast at gmail.com. The more response we get, the more giveaways we'll do. So get those emails in by the next show. Weldie, where can people reach you?
I am on X at More Clappers, MOAR, More Clappers. Also Blue Sky, Weldie. You can find me there as well. Andrew, how about you?
You can find me on X at Andrew SCSU HHP. Once more with that email, huskieshockeypodcast@gmail.com. You can send it to Weldie. Send the Mount Rushmores to Weldie as well. I mean, we'll get them.
We'll get you entered.
Pull them in. We'll get you entered. Call me if you have my number.
There you go.
We'll get you entered.
Call me any time. Call me.
We should get a hotline for the show. Do like a
or
call
you just leave
show.
Voicemails.
It'd be fun.
you can have your take.
Do like a post game wine line.
Oh God, I both want that and regret that idea already. So
and we'll do it if the
workshop
audience is there. We'll do it.
Send us an audio file of ranting about how the game went. I think we can work that in.
I think we can. We'll find out the.
I'll talk to the editor.
We'll work out the text.
Insert that.
We'll find a way to
that all
get
in.
that.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well,
and also,
that does it.
I don't want to. Cut you short on your Substack as well.
Oh,
Cloud Coverage
good.
Hockey.
Cloud Coverage hockey.substack.com. I'm slacking on that. It's been a busy couple of months here.
I mean, you had a huge expose about the new coaches. I mean,
I went a little ham sandwich on that.
Yeah.
That was
take a little time. It's fine, but it's still.
I want to do a Huskies rewind. I want to do sort of the Substack version of the random box score. I have some ideas for it, but I'll see. I'm going to do some season preview like I did last year for it in writing form. We'll do obviously an audio version of that as well. We'll do the women's version the next show, and then the men the week after that. But I'll get some content out there too, because I know that some people read that. A few people do. So thanks for reminding me on that. With that will wrap it up for the summer shows. That about does her. For Weldie, this is Andrew signing off. Go Huskies. Woo!